I'm super excited about our conversation because we're going to be talking all things yoga related. And you have been a yoga instructor for many years now. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you started yoga and how it's become such a big part of your life?
Yeah, so my first experience of yoga was in 1998 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 32. And I went through the surgery and everything that I needed to go through to get through my breast cancer. And it's amazing when when you're going through something, you do find some sort of inner resilience to get through it, to get through cancer. And it kind of takes you by surprise when you do come through it. You imagine that everything's going to sort of slot back into normal after your treatment and surgery and everything. And for me, what took me by surprise was the fact that I didn't feel elated. I didn't feel that I could just easily kind of slot back into being a mother of two little boys. And
Right.
I found that I was being quite short-tempered with them. I found that I was very tearful, and it was just so out of character for me. I didn't really know what was going on. So I went along to my GP and had a chat with her, and she said that all of these feelings are really normal to experience after you've been through a trauma, and certainly a diagnosis of cancer is a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to refer me for some counselling, and I am denied about it, and I kind of wanted to sort of leave it really because I didn't feel it was right for me. And
Right.
that's when I thought, well, actually, I'm just going to take myself off to a yoga class. I kind of had this idea that yoga rebalanced the body both mentally and physically. And that's what I felt that I really needed at the time. I went there with a completely open mind, didn't really know what to expect. But that first experience of my yoga class really resonated
Mm.
with me, and I loved it. And I knew that this was going to really help me. I didn't really know how it was going to help me, but I knew whatever it was
Right.
doing was really helpful. It was making me feel stronger in my body. It was making me feel calmer in my mind, and it was something that I was doing just for me.
Can you tell us a little bit about the different kinds of yogas? Because I think for those who don't know anything about yoga, or may not be familiar with the types of yogas, and they are quite different in terms of what they are and the practices they involve. So, um, can you tell us a little bit about that and what the different types there are?
Sure. I'm not going to go through this. There are so many of them, probably some that I'm not
Okay.
even aware of myself. But I'm going to
I guess
start
the
off
common
with the
ones.
I'm going to start off with the styles of yoga that would be safe enough to do as a beginner
Okay.
or as someone who is recovering from breast cancer. So um, an Iyengar style class, which I've already mentioned, is very alignment focused, and you hold the poses for quite a long time. That would be a good starting point. A hatha based class again is a more gentle class. Um, Very traditional practice. You might flow a little bit, but you're not going to be doing anything that's going to sort of be too much weight bearing or anything on your kind of upper body.
Okay.
So I'd say Iyengar and Hatha are the two forms of yoga that I would, suggest. There's also restorative yoga, which is fabulous for calming, the nervous system and a lovely way to unwind the body, um, which is fabulous. But I wouldn't just say practice that alone because you do need the strength building practice of something like Iyengar or Hatha to go with it. So I think you need a little bit
Right.
of everything as someone who is using yoga to help them recover from cancer because you need to build that body strength back. You need to get the body moving and the circulation going. So a solely restorative practice wouldn't be enough in itself, but it's a lovely practice to do, as an addition to another class.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
the yoga classes that I would avoid at this particular stage, if you're recovering from breast cancer, are the dynamic forms of yoga, such as vinyasa flow, such as ashtanga, hot yoga, all those dynamic practices are fairly fast moving and they're very strong, particularly on the upper body. I do have ladies who practice throughout chemotherapy, and it's variable. It depends how you feel. There might be one
Yeah.
week that you feel that you're okay, and you can come to the yoga class, or there might be another week when you're just after treatment and it's just too much. So
Yeah.
it's very important to listen to your body and to just come whenever you feel that you have the energy to do so. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
So
I would echo that actually. So
yeah.
post surgery, yeah, at least 6 weeks before you do anything exertional. Many people do suffer from various side effects and also endocrine treatment. So if you're on
Mm.
tamoxifen or you're on letrozole or any other aromatase inhibitor, these also carry very significant side effects for some. And
Yes.
I'm hoping that yoga can help with these side effects, and if so, how can yoga help? Many of those who are suffering.
So yoga can help in many ways with many of the side effects that people experience through their breast cancer treatment. One of the most common side effects seems to be fatigue. And that's something that I hear a lot of from my students. And when you're feeling fatigued, the answer isn't always to rest. Sometimes you
Yes.
just need to actually do some gentle exercise and actually move the body. So bringing yourself to a yoga class where you can actually do some nice movement with the breath. So I tend to introduce some nice half sun salutations into my yoga for breast cancer classes where you are just flowing with the breath. And that's bringing the circulation to the body. It's circulating lymphatic fluid around the body. It's increasing the heart rate, and it's connecting that breath with the movement. And that in itself can become quite a moving meditation, if
Right.
once you get really into it. So that can really help with alleviating fatigue. Another side effect is loss of muscle tone and also bone density. So some of the standing poses, like the warrior sequences, can be really strength building, particularly in the lower body. So muscles like the quadriceps and the gluteal muscles, those are big muscles in the body that really waste away quite quickly when you're not moving around as often as you would normally.
Right.
So those standing poses really work on building back strength in the muscles, but also when you hold those poses for about 20 or 30 seconds, so maybe about 3 to 5 breaths, holding a pose is actually building back bone strength and bone density. So,
Right.
there are so many ways in which, a simple yoga practice can benefit those side effects. Um,
Yeah.
Again, with just with the stress and anxiety as well, just helping to focus the mind on the body and the sensations that are in the body as you move through your practice. The breath work that we do, particularly the long, slow, deep breathing, really helps to calm the nervous system. If you're breathing deeply into the belly, this long diaphragmatic breathing can really help to calm the nervous system. And also, I think what's really important is to give students strategies that they can take away from their yoga class and do at home. So if they're having
Yes.
difficulty sleeping, that they can do a simple breathing exercise, and maybe that might help them, just calm down a little bit and help them get back to sleep. Or a simple, nighttime, 5 to 10 minute nighttime sort of wind down routine that they can do on their own before they sort of climb into bed. So there are
Right.
lots of ways in which a yoga practice can really help those
Right.
side effects of treatment. Be mindful that you are listening to your body at all times. And if you do go to a
Yeah.
face-to-face class, always tell the teacher what you've been through. They need to know. They need to know that before you start the class.
Right.
If that's
That's
a
really
regular
important,
class,
isn't
it's
it?
really important, whether it's a regular yoga class or whether it's a yoga for cancer class. The teacher needs to know what you've been through, when you've had your surgery, and any other medical conditions that they should be aware of as well.